Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 10 Express. We'll be your host for today. I'm Tiff Cole, and I'm joined by.
Jared Friday, nice to meet you and nice to see everyone, guys.
We have another awesome show for you guys today. What's coming up?
So today we have the reoccurring segments of the Great Debate and Do You Even Sport, also followed by Millennial Media and Pop Goes the Culture. But first we have Tiff jumping in with the news.
Awesome. So first up, North Korea's missile that was launched over Japan early on Tuesday morning landed roughly 1,000 kilometers from the shore. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe consulted with Donald Trump on the matter, receiving support from the US and scheduling an emergency meeting of the United Nations. South Korea have also shown support by dropping 8 bombs near the northern border as a warning of retaliation on this unprecedented threat. The first advertisement from anti-same-sex marriage campaign titled No aired last night on Australian TV. The controversial ad features a mother recounting a time when her son was encouraged at high school to wear a dress and another parent's concerns of a program where students role-play a same-sex relationship. The federal government has chosen to wait until the postal survey is cleared in the High Court before it moves on to tightening advertising restrictions. Harvey, the Category 4 hurricane, has now transitioned into a slow-moving storm, delivering more rainfall to the surrounding areas of Houston, Texas. The death toll is currently recorded at 11. CBS News reports that as much as 11 trillion gallons, or roughly 41.5 trillion litres of water, has fallen on Houston since last Friday, which is as much rain as the city gets in an average year. And the first day surgery patient has been treated at the new Royal Adelaide Hospital, even though it won't officially open until next week. Director of Nursing, Sue White, says that staff have completed their training and are ready to handle major procedures in the new operating theatres. The emergency department will be open next Tuesday, and patients transported via ambulance to the new facilities by Wednesday.
That's really cool. Yeah, they've opened up the hospital early.
It
to
is,
start
yeah,
treating
and I
people.
think it borders onto the old facility, so it should be easy to get everyone across there safely.
That's and now in sporting news, David Zacharias will remain an Essendon player for the next 4 years after turning his back on free agency. The 27-year-old has enjoyed a career best season in red and black after averaging 26 disposals a game and kicking 11 goals. The news will no doubt be a boost to Essendon's morale as they shape up to take on Sydney Swans next Sunday evening at the SCG. White Australia is on track to a record a win in the first test against Bangladesh at stumps in Aussies are 109-2. Chasing 265 for victory, David Warner is on 75, not out. Will captain Steve Smith on 25. On to weather today. It's wet. Very wet. It was not a lovely walk to uni today, as it was wet. Today, a top of only 12 and a low of 2, which I definitely felt this morning, Tiff.
It is a bit of a miserable morning, I must admit.
Wasn't the best at all.
But here's hoping that we can brighten up your day.
Now we're jumping in a segment on this day.
Absolutely. So on
Yeah?
this day, along with our terrible weather, we also have Melbourne's birthday.
Oh,
We're celebrating another birthday carrying on from next week. So Melbourne was founded on this day in 1835, which was 182 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
That's mad as. But this is this is very typical for Melbourne. Melbourne's birthday.
And it's
Look at
showing
the
us
weather.
what it's got. Yeah.
Typical Melbourne.
It is very
Typical Melbourne
typical
weather.
Melbourne.
Yeah.
But I think I'm really glad to be living in a city such as Melbourne, as opposed to Sydney, where we are the most livable city 7 times in a row now.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And as the good old Eagle report said, the most livable city in the galaxy, of course.
Oh, I completely agree. I couldn't be more.
Yeah.
I couldn't be more happy with that.
But Melbourne's come a long way. We've got the free tram zone kicking in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you people at home use that one.
Compared
And
to Sydney, where
yeah,
they still have to pay for it, but we
still
have
gotta pay for
free
it.
transport in the CBD.
I mean, and we have pretty good roads, unlike Sydney, because
Congestion,
roads suck.
traffic
Um,
congestion.
yeah, but
we also we will take any excuse to celebrate a public holiday.
this is true. Melbourne Cup Day,
coming up,
AFL, F1 Grand Prix.
Can't wait for a day off for the grand final.
Look, day offs are probably the best thing. Yeah, the best thing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And we also have our Queen Vic markets, which
Yeah.
are also running a night market.
And we kick on at the Australian Open.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's something pretty cool.
But did you know that something typically in Melbourne as well is that Australia's first espresso machine came up was bought and introduced in Lygon Street, Carlton, half a century ago.
Really?
So Melbourne was the first state in Australia to get a coffee machine.
Jesus.
Do you think that kind of shaped our coffee and avo culture?
Fixation?
Yeah,
Probably.
especially in
For
Melbourne.
Half
yeah.
a century ago. Like that's a long time.
That's a long time to
Like,
be honest.
Yeah. To have that like kicking around for like such a long time, that's ridiculous.
Uh-huh.
But it's really cool to think like that's what that was a result sort of thing. And also we've got like not that short of a drive to some of the best beaches in the world.
AKA Bells Beach.
Yeah, aka Bells Beach.
Have
Great
you
Ocean
visited
Road.
there yourself?
Yes.
Ooh.
I've surfed in Bells Beach.
Oh, that's super
Yes.
cool.
Yeah. Because, like I only live like where I'm from, Colac. It's only like
Yeah.
a 2-hour thing to Melbourne. It's like an hour from like Bells Beach. So yeah,
Yeah.
I've been there a couple of times and surfed and stuff.
And we
But that's
also
really cool.
have,
Yeah.
did you know that the Royal Melbourne Golf Club's West course is ranked number 1 in Australia?
I did not know that. That's why?
It's pretty prestigious, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, they have, and then their oh gosh, don't quote me if I'm wrong, but I think their East course is ranked around 10th in Australia as well.
That's no, I'm not a golfer, but I'm assuming that that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for the grounds to be maintained and the facilities to be that great,
Yeah.
Melbourne takes a lot of pride in its sporting achievements.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah. We also have a dance move called the Melbourne Shuffle. Have you heard of that one?
That's a throwback. I used to watch lots of
Oh.
Melbourne Shuffle videos on my laptop on YouTube when I was back in high school.
What a throwback.
You tried to mimic it. There were a couple of steps. There was like the Running Man and then like the classic shuffle.
Yeah. Also, we have a lower housing cost in Sydney.
Ooh, do we?
Yeah. That's why
Well-
we're more livable, Sydney. That's why we're more livable.
So congratulations for first home buyers.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that we should attract anyone from Sydney
all
to
the
Melbourne.
students that are like coming in, like, and they've got to pay rent and stuff, like lower housing costs. That makes a great deal.
We'll take it.
That
we'll
makes a
take it
great
any day.
difference. Yeah, exactly. And once again, can I just touch on Sydney's backward roads?
Why? What about them?
Well, they're like figure eights, but like with a donut connected to a figure eight, and it just doesn't make any sense. Like in Melbourne, we've got this like real perfect like grid layout.
Yeah.
And it just works. It works.
Yeah, Hoddle Grid they call it.
But then you go to Sydney and you're just like, what's going on here, mate?
I've never personally driven in Sydney, but I can say that from...
Just save yourself and don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
But I can say from personal experience, as a P player, as a newer driver, I think navigating the city is relatively easy, especially with the GPS on hand.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
As long as you get the hook turns and you get
you
the...
get that hook turn.
Or the one where you're like
Oh.
stuck in the middle of the traffic lights in the little right turn hand bay.
Oh, that's not
It makes me nervous.
not a
It
good one.
does.
But, at least the only complicated thing we have is hook turns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't complain. Can't be mad at that.
Exactly.
Guys, thank you tuning in to the 10 Express. We broadcast every Wednesday live at 10 a.m. from the brand new Media Hub in the Agora.
Yeah.
You can catch up on previous episodes of our show at upstart.net.au, or you can also follow us on our Facebook and Twitter pages at the 1010 Express.
Yeah, killing it. We're now moving on to our feature story this week. It's about the Australia Day issue with the Darebin and Yarra councils, as well as the Bangor one. As reported, the city of Darebin voted to scrap its Australia Day celebrations last Monday following a similar decision made by the Yarra City Council in support of a more culturally sensitive ceremony for Indigenous Australians. Bangor City Council has been considering the issue, but councillors voted to stop the consultation with the community after Councillor Rick Garotti moved on an urgent business item to reaffirm support for it on Monday night. Naeem Kurt reports on Australia Day controversy and what it means for its local residents.
Australia Day, a day where we come together as Australians to reflect on what we've achieved and to acknowledge the founding of our great nation.
Hey, where you mob from?
We, sir, are from Great Britannia. We are the first fleet.
Yeah, not quite, mate.
For many, it's a day to celebrate, to sit back, enjoy the sun, listen to the hottest 100 countdown, and throw a few shrimps on the barbie.
I'll slip an extra shrimp on the barbie for you.
But for others, it's a traumatic reminder of colonial settlement.
Australia Day to be celebrated. You need to erase the frontier wars, you need to erase the rape and genocide and all of these horrible things that have actually happened.
Since 1938, many Indigenous Australians have commemorated the day as Invasion Day or Survival Day, a day that marked the dispossession and loss of Indigenous culture and land.
For us, it means survival.
Invasion Day, our survival.
Survival Day.
And celebrations of survival of one of the oldest cultures, if not the oldest culture on earth.
In recognition of this, the City of Yarra, in a unanimous decision, voted earlier this year to change the date of its Australia Day citizenship ceremony with an event to mark the loss of Indigenous culture. This was swiftly followed by a similar decision made by the City of Darebin's Council to discontinue citizenship ceremonies on Australia Day.
A second Melbourne Council has axed Australia Day celebrations.
Reactions have been mixed, with many declaring their support or opposition to the changes.
It's completely un-Australian. Don't agree with it at all.
I don't see why we have to celebrate Australia Day on the 26th.
In response, the federal government has stripped both councils of their rights to hold citizenship ceremonies.
I don't think that Australians are going to thank them for this.
We believe that January 26 marks the invasion of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people.
With both Yarra and Darebin councils unable to hold citizenship ceremonies, many of its residents will have to look elsewhere to become citizens. So was this the right decision for councils to be taking, or is it a case of councils simply overstepping their mark?
Hey guys, and welcome back to La Trobe Live. I'm Jared, joined by Tiff, and we're joined by Susanna and the wonderful Naeem. Guys, Australia Day, what are the thoughts?
Look, I guess first question is, Susan, it's been a huge week for Darebin, probably the biggest week it's been since you've been elected. I guess 1 week on now from the decision, how do you think it was handled, and how have you felt about the reaction so far?
Great. Thank you for having me. So I would say that the decision that we made to change the date last week has been very polarising. I think that the majority has been positive, so we've got a hell of a lot of positive feedback from our Aboriginal community and also a lot of local community members. And then on the opposite side of that, we've also had some very strong reactions from people who think it's outside of our scope to do it. We've had a lot of angry Facebook posts, emails and phone calls as well from people who are really unhappy about it. So it's been very polarising.
Can you explain why you decided to take this decision, I guess, in the first place?
Yeah,
and
so...
Even perhaps how it came about?
Yeah, so it's something that I'm on the Aboriginal Advisory Committee at Council, and it's something that we've been talking about for about 6 months. It was Yarra that got the ball rolling with it about 6 months ago. We followed them with having a consultation with all of the 27 advisory committees that we have on Council, and we got a report back a few weeks ago from that with suggestions of what should happen. Then, as you would know, Yarra Council voted unanimously to change the date about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we did it a week ago as well.
Do you think there was a consultation that was conducted, and I believe it was only 81 people which replied back to that, and the criticism has been that how can you get a representative view of what the community's feeling with only 81 people having replied to that consultation? Do you think you got an accurate view in that, or how do you feel the community's position is on this issue?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. So we've got about 300 people on the 27 advisory committees. We sent the survey to all of them. We got 81 responses back. But the way that I feel about this issue is that it's one where we had to lead. It's one that I think is very important to our Aboriginal community. We've got the second highest Aboriginal community in Melbourne, in metropolitan Melbourne. And I think this is one where I think that regardless of what the popular opinion might have been, I think this is one where it's so important to our Aboriginal community that I think it was the right thing to do.
Cool. I'm sorry to be the bearer of a bad question, but Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews called the decision a great shame. What are your thoughts on that one?
I would say it's the opposite. I think this is one of the proudest things that I've done on council, and I'd say that that's the case for most of our councillors. I think this is something where it was talked about on Q&A this week. It's been in the national news, it's been on the international news, and I think that what I'm proud about is that we're changing the national conversation on this, and that people who've never had to think about why we celebrate on 26th of January now do. And I think that's incredibly important, and I think having that discussion for all Australians is just something I'm very, very proud of.
Yeah, they're like you definitely got headlines about it.
Yeah, we did. So we had a massive press conference. I was just talking to Naeem before about sometimes we get maybe a dozen people turning up at council meetings. This we had about 100 plus lots of news cameras. So yeah, it was massive.
Yeah, big
How
thing,
are you guys dealing with the negative media, or do you think all media is good media?
Look, it's a good question, because as I was saying, I think that something that's really important about, even when we have had things like we've had citizenship ceremonies taken off us, I think in a way having it on the national media is important, because it means that people have to think about it when they haven't before. And I think obviously we would like it if there was more positive media, but I think having the conversation is really important.
Absolutely.
Of course, citizenship ceremonies are something which councils run on behalf of the federal government. Now that citizenship ceremonies have been taken away from Darebin City Council for the foreseeable future, what are the plans there in Darebin for you guys to be able to run citizenship ceremonies? Is that something that the department will be running on behalf of for the council, or will residents there have to go elsewhere to hold get their citizenship outside of the municipality, perhaps?
Yeah, nothing's certain yet. We've had some offers from senators such as Janet Rice and Richard Di Natale to offer their services to conduct citizenship ceremonies, but it's really nothing certain yet about that. But I think the way that we feel is that one of my fellow councillors, Gaetano Greco, said how he thinks that if new citizens understood what happened on 26th of January in terms of the British colonisation, they wouldn't want to have their citizenship ceremonies on the 26th of January either. So I think it's important not just for our Aboriginal community, but also for new citizens as well.
And I think you decided as well to have a culturally sensitive ceremony that's more inclusive of Indigenous people next year on Australia Day. Do you have any idea how that might play out?
I don't know that it will be on the 26th of January, but we are going to talk to our Aboriginal Advisory Committee about what sort of celebration they would like. We've also changed. We did have Australia Day Awards, and now I think they're going to be called Darebin Community Awards, and we won't be doing those on the 26th of January either, but we will be doing some sort of celebration with our Aboriginal community.
I guess, Jared and Tiff, how do you two feel about Australia Day? You know, we've heard that Triple J might be reconsidering whether they have a Hottest 100 on Australia Day.
Yeah, no, that's like definitely a big decision, because I know that I'm like a #1 fan for Triple J Hottest 100. I love it. But, you know, like Australia Day has had a lot of controversy in the past.
Absolutely.
And I understand like where your council is coming from. I understand your position, and I understand like what you're trying to do for other people. And I think that's really cool.
Great.
But as Tiff and I were discussing before, everybody loves the day off. So that's another side of the story.
So I think what I would say to that is we're not talking about having no Australia Day. We're talking about having on a day that isn't the 26th of January because it's not inclusive.
That is like understandable.
Sensitive Australia Day at that.
Exactly.
No, I'd agree. Like Australia Day has had a lot of controversy, and I understand completely and utterly where your council is going. Right, we need to make a call on this, and we need to make a decision, and this is what we're doing.
Yep.
And I like 110% back that. That's
awesome.
Really cool of you guys, and you've done like super well.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, that's all right.
We've seen as well that Darebin City Council has made decisions to rename some of the places around Darebin, like Batman Park. Of course, that's named after the founder of Melbourne, John Batman, but also someone who had a, maybe perhaps some controversial history in how Melbourne was started up. And we've also seen in Sydney recently that there was a monument statue of James Cook, I think, which was graffitied over the weekend with no pride in genocide. What's your views on statues of some of the figures from our past which were involved in Australian colonisation. Do you think that those should be we should be looking to pull that back and change them?
Yeah, look, it's a good question. So to the first thing you were talking about with Batman Park, so I think this is, in terms of what we're doing at Darebin, I think it's an ongoing process towards reconciliation. So we are renaming Batman Park to, I think it's going to be Gumbury, and we're also looking at changing the name of the electorate, which is currently called Batman as well. In terms of the statues, I think this is a really interesting one. Obviously, we saw with Charlottesville recently that the ostensible reason for the rally was a statue, which I don't really particularly believe. But I think it shows that symbols are important. And I think, you know, obviously I don't endorse people graffitiing statues or anything. But I think we need to have a broader conversation about what statues we have and if there's other people that we should have statues of. And I think it's a broader conversation we need to have.
Broader conversation on like a national level.
Yeah, on a national level, because I think a lot of the statues that we have really relate to our colonial past. And, you know, I'm also a feminist. You know, I think there's a lot more male statues than there are female. And I think that we don't really talk about things like the Frontier Wars or, you know, women that were involved in the Eureka Stockade. And I think there's a lot of work still to be done.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us for that one, Susanna. And
no worries.
Once again, Naeem, thank you for acing those questions out there.
Great.
We're now moving on to a Where Are They Now segment, eh?
Absolutely.
So
But
up
now
next we have a
before we
weekly
tell you-
segment of Where Are They Now? But before we tell you, Tiff.
What we are talking about, we want to see if you guys remember this moment in defining Australian history.
You guys have worked incredibly hard to be here. Sleepless nights, long days, and you've worked your guts out. A lot of people have voted. And Australia has made their decision. After 6 months of an incredibly grueling competition, the winner of Australian Idol 2003 is...
That's right, folks. We are talking Australian Idol circa 2003. What a throwback.
That's a big one.
Do you remember any of the other contestants in the series?
No.
No?
Oh, actually, I remember Paulini because as we've brought up last week, I think it was, I used to go to Carols by Candlelight, and Paulini always used to go and sing there. But I've also seen Shannon Knoll and Guy Sebastian perform there as well.
Love it.
But everyone remembers Shannon Knoll because they all think that he was robbed. You know, Shannon Knoll was robbed is probably the biggest argument that
and
you
Shannon
can put
Knoll
down.
is the Australian icon.
Yeah, but he's had a bit of a dim dark past, dim dark future from 2003.
So where is he now? What is he doing?
I believe, from what I've heard, is he is headlining the Oktoberfest in Geelong.
Oh, that's all right then.
I believe that's what the go is. But he was also involved in another concert very recently. So he's actually he's getting back into the music industry because he did fade away for a while. He had his two he launched his 2 albums and then he faded away.
Yeah.
And personally, I'm going to seem like public enemy number one here, but I think that Guy Sebastian deserved to win because what he's done since
if we're weighing
exploded,
up if we're weighing up kind of
international
success, then I think yes.
Guy Sebastian won hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down. And to be fair, he had a lot. From what I saw, he had a lot more potential.
But taking that into account, as a judge, do you think that because Guy is younger, he is now at age 35 and Nosy is 41? Did Guy have more of a potential in terms of star quality, in terms of his background story? Because I know that Guy is involved in a lot of charity, which is a great thing that he's done. He's very humble.
I'm not 100% sure because like it's not that big of an age difference. It's only 6 years.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the reason they went with that is because Guy Sebastian had more potential, and they could see that. And like, look what he's done. He went repped Australia in Eurovision.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
He's launched like 4 albums. A lot of his songs are really good. Like
I know, or Like It Like That.
yeah,
Battle Scars.
and like Black and Blue, like they're tunes.
He's still relevant.
They
We still
are
hear him on
tunes,
the radio.
and like Guy Sebastian is still out and about. And I'm really, really happy that like Shannon Knoll is getting in there and he's doing his thing now, because they've like, as I said before, he disappeared.
But what about Knowlesy? I think in comparison, like Guy Sebastian has been playing kind of like international gigs and recording in the studio, but Knowlesy is more of like he's our Australian icon. He's been playing at pubs. He's really grounded.
Yeah, it's true. But like I think that maybe Knowlesy would have moved into international stage, and we wouldn't have had this Australian icon if you want.
Yeah, would that have been a good or a bad thing?
I don't know, because then like, what would we do without tunes like What About Me?
Exactly, or Shine, Lift.
What would we do? I don't know. But as like Dim Dark Future and now Past, getting arrested outside of a strip club in Adelaide in January this year.
Yeah, that was not a good look for Knowlesy, to be honest with you.
I think almost everyone heard about it.
It was, and I think it was rumoured that he had something like 4 lap dancers and his wife wasn't happy at it. Knowlesy, what are you doing?
Look, everyone heard about it, and it was a bit of a controversy. and
do you know
I loved it. I was like, oh, typical Knowlesy. That's what it was. That's what it was.
It's something that he would have
typical
done.
Knowlesy.
But did you also know that a month ago, more controversy, Knowlesy's been in the news.
Yeah.
An attendee at his concert threw a firecracker on the stage.
No way.
And his drummer, I believe, his keyboard player, actually tried to dampen the firecracker by stepping on it. And there were reports that he almost had his foot blown off. There were shrapnel injuries absolutely everywhere. And I think even some of the attendees were scathed.
No way, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Are you legit?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's ridiculous.
Which is devastating, because you think of all of the terrorism and fear mongering that we have in concerts. We had Ariana Grande, and even
Yeah,
for that to happen on Australian soil, that really is something that's quite shocking. And to Knowlesy nonetheless.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm surprised that it wasn't treated seriously.
Absolutely ridiculous, that happened. Cutting. Oh,
it was nasty. It wasn't nice at all.
No, it makes me cringe. Shrapnel into your arm, that's gross. Ugh.
Not comparative to when Justin Bieber got thrown a water bottle at him, which we can laugh it off. But this is a firecracker. Come on, people.
All right, let's get away from the controversy and let's have a look at good old Guy Sebastian. I'm believing. So Men's Health cover.
Yep. Oh my gosh, guys looking fit these days.
Yeah, fit guy. See what I did there. Eurovision 2015, placed 5th.
He's doing well for himself, definitely.
That song though, I love it. X Factor judge,
Mm-hmm.
and performed for Oprah's Australian tour.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
And Oprah loved him so much that she invited him back to a private party of his to perform.
Absolutely killed it, and I love every second of it. He destroyed.
Do you know what
Shannon
I think?
Knoll may have been robbed, but Guy Sebastian was the right choice. You heard it here first, people.
I think that Guy's rite of passage was when he shaved off his fro, because even his mother didn't like his afro.
All right. So now we've got to wrap up. Where are they now? But we're going to throw into a news
Quick
recap.
news recap. So in news today, an 11-year-old Tasmanian girl is fighting for her life after suffering from a gunshot wound. So she was shot in the face inside of a car, and police were called to the scene at 9 p.m. on Tuesday. The Tasmanian girl was flown to Melbourne overnight in a critical condition, and police are further investigating this incident with the help of a 25-year-old man who is believed to be related to the child. As well as the Houston megachurch has been blasted for closing its doors after thousands are displaced throughout Texas. the Lakewood Church, owned by Joel Olstein, which seats 16,800 patrons, announced on Facebook that it was inaccessible due to severe flooding. How true that is or not, we don't know. But the tax-exempt megachurch has been blasted on social media, particularly Twitter, for not offering relief in the immediate community.
God damn it. Anyway, so this is the 10 Express. We broadcast every Wednesday at 10 a.m. live from the Latrobe Media Hub. You can catch up on episodes of the show on upstart.net.au or follow us on Facebook or Twitter at the 10 Express. If you want to contact us directly or send news, you can hit us up on the 10express@hotmail.com.
And now we're going to throw into a quick YouTube clip to give you guys a taste on what's coming up in millennial media.
Here's your first word. Do you know it?
Stan. Sounds like a guy's name.
I do not know this.
That's slang? Stan? No, I don't know what that means.
Stan? That's a slang?
That's my uncle's name. That doesn't help anything, though. I don't know Stan.
Somebody who's kind of old-fashioned or somebody who's like kind of a nerd or a geek or an old person. No, I don't know that one.
Stan reminds me of the song by Eminem, Stan.
Are we testing Georgie?
Alrighty. Hey guys, how you doing? We're back and we're joined by our lovely assistant producer, Georgie Meadows. How are you?
Good, guys. How are you?
Oh,
welcome.
Fantastic as always.
Lovely. So it's me instead of Geordie this week doing millennial.
Georgie instead of Geordie.
Georgie instead of Geordie.
Which is it's tricky. It's very tricky.
That one letter, it's really challenging.
So today, guys, we're touching on teen talk and abbreviations. Georgie,
Now,
what are your experiences with this one?
My experience extends to my two little brothers. They're 15 and 17. Yeah, watch out. Fun times. And yeah, I'm not really across it. I'm a bad millennial. I don't know how to Snapchat. I don't really post on social media unless it's photos of my cat. I'm a bad millennial. Yeah, pretty much. So this will be an interesting test.
You guys have heard it here first. Georgie Meadows, not one with the social media. just doesn't know how to do it. Can't cope with ordinary life, you know. Just.
Well, I was doing my research the other night, and what I've garnered is a short list of teen talk or abbreviations, which were from. It's about I was reading it was a thesis on terms to look out for worried parents.
Okay.
If their children are involved
like code
in
slang.
Yeah. If they
okay.
might be potentially trying to hide something from
So
their parents.
are we being tested? Is this what's going on?
Yeah. So we'll just see.
No.
I'll just throw a couple of them out there.
After I just bagged out Georgie, this is going to go terribly. This is going to go so bad.
And we might even keep a little bit of a points counter. So hang on to your.
We'll put our hands up.
Yeah.
1, 2. Oh.
So first up, do you guys know what cyber slacking is?
Cyber slacking?
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's more interesting if we have a guess, right?
Oh,
what do you guess it would be?
I'm going to have a stab and say that it's spending a lot of time on like social media or the internet world.
Okay, that's the opposite to me. I was like, maybe like you're slacking off on your cyber game or like your social media game, like you're not as active.
If you haven't posted in a while.
Like, cyber slacking off on cyber.
Those would be two very good guesses, but cyber slacking is if you are surfing the internet during your work time.
So Jared was almost right. I would give you 1 point for that.
Half a point, maybe?
I would say 1 point for Jared.
1 point for me. All right,
Yeah.
we're getting in there.
Yeah, okay.
What about, do you guys know what a nanger is?
Sorry, a what?
A nanger.
A nanger?
It's a... Hold on, I know this one.
If you are a nanger.
It's a...
Oh, you are.
Yeah. Or someone is a
may
nanger.
you please use this in a sentence?
Into sentence? Okay, we'll get all spelling bee.
Yeah, yes please.
My great aunt is being such a nanger.
It's like a person from Melbourne without manners.
It's spelled Nanger. But you are very close. I might just give it to you.
Yeah, it's like a person in Melbourne without
I
manners.
won't guess, guys. Don't worry.
It's actually an East Melbourne suburb term for someone who has like terrible manners, who's like super rude, who's like a little bit like out of it.
You were close, but you're 21. You're younger than me. You should know all this stuff.
Definitely not a teen though, am I, Georgie?
No. But you still seem to know all this stuff.
I'm just guessing.
My knowledge extends to like, okay, this is going to show my age. Do you remember MSN days?
Yeah.
Okay, so we had code words, and I remember POS, like parent over shoulder. So if you're having, you know, at the age of 11, you know, talking about the radical day you had in grade 5, and obviously you didn't want your parents knowing that, like, you know, who you played catch with or whatever, you'd go, oh, POS, so the parent was over your shoulder.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure every single parent knew exactly what was going on.
I used to do that, but my computer also automatically recorded the messenger chat logs, so my parents would go back and read them without me knowing.
Oh,
and then later on the day they'd be like, "Oh, so what were you doing at lunchtime? Who were you talking to on the internet?"
And it's like, guys, you know exactly what I was doing because you've gone through all my details. Oh, that's intense.
All right, surely we can get a couple more in before.
All right, just quickly, rapid fire round. I'll go 5 more. You have 3 seconds to answer.
All right.
What if you curve someone or dub someone?
Dub is like ignore, like
yes.
Yes?
So like reject someone romantically. So
Oh, romantically.
Point to Georgie.
Point to Georgie.
What about, we were just seeing it on the clip before. What is a stan?
I thought I thought they were talking about Stan, like the streaming service, like
It's
like Netflix.
It's like a stalker.
I honestly thought
like
that
someone who's a fan that stalks you.
Yes, stalker fan.
Yeah,
If you can't decide whether you love a celebrity or you love to stalk them.
Oh, that was so funny. Because, when I saw that clip and the parents were like, is Stan a guy? I'm like, no, it's a streaming service, you kooks. It's none of the above.
What about if I'm weak? Like, you said something and I'm weak.
It's
like laughing so much?
It's like visual.
Yes!
It's like a lull. Yeah. All right.
I got it.
So
I'm
look,
going to have the best
we're gonna call it.
conversation
We're gonna call it
with
even.
my brothers.
We're gonna call it
What
even.
were the actual tallies? Did we have 2 and then...
It doesn't matter. We'll just call it even.
Alrighty. We'll settle it.
I enjoy winning
call
too
it
much,
truce?
so we're just gonna we're gonna call it a truce. All right.
Fine.
And now we're moving on to our other segment, which Georgie also joins us for, Popgoes the Culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So atypical. We check that out.
Is this something you really want? I mean, you want to date? Aren't you afraid of getting hurt?
Well, not unless I date a great white shark. No, I know what you mean. You mean my feelings, right?
Yeah.
Talking to girls makes me a little nervous, but Julia says it's good to do things that scare you.
Sometimes. Fear's also there for a biological reason. I mean, fight or flight, right? It's like if I'm walking down a dark alley and I start to feel afraid, that's my body trying to protect me from gang boys with knives.
So this week on our Pop Goes the Culture, we're going to be discussing the prevalence of social and neurological disorders, rather, in cinema or movies, or in this case, Netflix series such as Atypical. We have Breaking the Bone or
To the Bone.
To the Bone.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yep, To the Bone. And 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I've seen the first episode of Atypical.
What did you think?
I thought it was really good, but I remember you discussing something about it last week or something like that, saying that there was a very fine line between the protagonist being a protagonist and being comic relief.
Yeah, so I was reading I was researching about the rise of these socially conscious TV series and movies, and how they're received. So it's a bit of a balance between people responding, saying, "Oh, that's really great. That represents me, and that represents what I'm going through," or "This is a mainstream, watered down version of my experience." So. What I was reading, it was in the Atlantic Journal, and it was a review of Atypical, and exactly as you said, what they were saying. So the main character, Sam, suffers from autism. That's why, that's what the whole series is about. He's the protagonist, he's the central character, and he wants to have a, quote, normal high school experience.
Yeah.
And it's his journey through that. So yeah, the article was saying that the producers or, you know, the series couldn't decide if they wanted to focus on him and focus on his issue or purely use him as comic relief, therefore semi-undermining his experience and the hardships that he has daily, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so that's like a really cool way to interpret it, because when I watched this, like the first episode of the show, so I'm nowhere near the end.
Yeah.
But when I watched the first episode of the show, I remembered you saying that, and I was like, yeah, I can see where she's talking about this. But at the same time, I reckon they used that effect really well, because it makes you like tune in, and then when it hits its more serious stuff, you're already tuned into the funny things that it makes you understand.
Yeah.
So I think that was a really cool mechanic to use.
I agree. And look, it's a funny. They use dark, or like, you know, not black comedy, but like it's a darker sense of humor.
Yeah, it's a darker sense of humor.
Because you understand the context. It's like, oh, that's funny. Oh, but maybe for the wrong reasons. I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I have nothing. I mean, I'm in terms of like real life experience, I've got nothing to compare it to. I haven't had much interaction with like family members or friends who are on the spectrum, and therefore, in terms of, as I said, like, you know, face-to-face, first-hand experience, I'm quite uneducated. Okay. So in terms of making a decision, oh, that is representative or it's not, I'm not sure. I think to get the message out there and to start, whether the wider demographic believed it was successful or not, maybe to start getting these messages out there and to start representing not the majority, shall we say. I think it's a good stepping stone. I think there's room for improvement. Yeah.
It was a real eye-opener, though, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I work with someone who is on the spectrum.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. But just in like an everyday workplace. And you kind of think of like, what's going on in their head? Like,
yeah.
What do they deal with that's
and I'm sure
different?
they're thinking, what on earth is going on in our
and
head?
what anxieties and fears and like what is amplified by that we don't experience.
Yeah. One of my favourite scenes was when Sam was wearing the leather jacket. So he and his best friend went shopping because he wants to get a girlfriend or like, you know, catch chicks or whatever. So they went. So they went shopping.
Went all grease on them.
Yeah, they went shopping to get him like, you know, a chick magnet jacket basically, and it was a leather jacket with silver buckles and clips.
Oh,
and
beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice.
Great jacket.
Great jacket.
But yeah, it was interesting how they had this scene and he was trying to do his homework at his desk and the buckles were clinking against the table and the leather was rubbing and the sounds were amplified, and it was so distressing that he ripped the jacket off and put it in the bin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
that kind of things, which, you know,
not the jacket.
I didn't, you know, to be so aware and sensitive to your surroundings and to sounds and everything. I think that was a good representation.
Well, it's very similar because I live with 6 other people. So there's 6 of us, including me.
It's a full house.
Yeah, it's a very full house.
Yeah.
And 3 of my housemates are on the spectrum, but all in different levels.
Okay.
Right. But they all function like normal adults and everything like that, which is really awesome.
Normal?
No one's normal. We're all weird.
That's
and wacky
why
now,
I
right?
did normal.
So they all function, you know, very, very easily and very, you know, they're all awesome.
Yep.
And I enjoy them, living with them like tons. But there are some points where, like, you know, there'll be like too much noise, or there'll be like, you know, but like it's only every once in a while. Like I can be like playing music or something and they won't care. Until it gets to like a certain point where they're just like, sorry, Jared, can you just like turn that down or like shut it off? Or something,
of course.
because, like it's affecting me, and like you don't understand
think about
that.
it, yeah.
You'd like it's something that I wouldn't even think about. I'd be like, oh, sorry, man, like I didn't realize.
Well,
that
exactly,
I've done that.
and you know, turning the music down is a common courtesy, no matter whether on the spectrum or not.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
kind of like it's the context. And I mean, as we were discussing before, it's not just you know, autism or mental health issues pertaining to that Netflix and I guess other film studios are representing. It's like eating disorders, as in To the Bone, and 13 Reasons focus on suicide. So have you guys seen 13 Reasons Why?
Yeah,
I have.
finished
I've seen the whole thing.
And I'm excited for the next season.
Yeah, so I only watched it. I only finished it, I think, 2 weeks ago, because it took me... I heard all this stuff about it and I was thinking, oh, do I really want to watch that? Like, I don't know. I'm just a bit sensitive when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
But then I was like, okay, no, just everyone's talking about it. Let's just watch it. And that copped a lot of backlash, that series, because
a whole lot of backlash.
Yeah,
especially for, not to spoil it for anyone, but the season finale.
Was
it was very graphic.
Yeah. And look, they did all the right things. You know, they had disclaimers at the start of every episode.
Yep.
My Netflix account, I'm not sure about you guys, but if there's explicit content or like graphic content, I have to enter my 4-digit PIN before watching the episode.
Okay.
I think my brother set that up, my 17-year-old brother. But so I think that's a good, like Netflix itself, not only the producers that make, you know, the different series, but Netflix has those systems in place. So I think that's a good thing. My issue with 13 Reasons Why was that I read that they went to leading psychologists and psychiatrists before filming the series, and they said, okay, so here's the book that we're basing this 13 episode series on. You know, here's the timeline. What do you suggest? What's your in your professional opinion, what should and shouldn't we do? And they said, okay, you shouldn't do X, Y, Z. Try not to glorify mental health issues and try not to glorify suicide. Try not to show graphic scenes of attempts, like suicide attempps,
which they did.
Which they did, and they had a list of other suggestions,
Wow.
and the producers and executives basically like, oh yeah, okay, sure, and went against professional advice.
Yes.
That's where so many people had an issue with it as well. Because it was, you know, you would think it was a good thing. Oh, they're doing the responsible, ethical thing. Oh, and now they're flipping it on its head.
Yeah, but to be like, the one way I see it is like, because they went so extreme, it got a lot of people to watch the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that promoted a lot of awareness.
Something that I really enjoyed was actually the parent-child relationships in both the series Atypical and 13 Reasons Why, where in instances their parents are oblivious to what's happening, but also in Atypical you have days where Sam will like connect with his mother more and connect with his father more, and it's just
I loved it when he connected with his dad.
And you really are like, you're rooting for him as a parent, but like you really just don't know what's happening, so you need to be aware of these issues.
I guess what it comes down to is Netflix and other services, other production companies, I think they're trying to increase awareness and promote you know, finding just promote acceptance, I think, to people with mental health issues and other you know, physical or mental illnesses. In doing that, in kind of muddying the waters and touching on these really controversial topics, you can't please everyone, and you're not going to. So I think, as I said, I think it is a stepping stone, but there are more steps to take in terms of achieving, like, I don't know, maybe a more holistic view of these illnesses. But again, it is fiction.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's tricky. I think it's really tricky. I'm really of two opinions. So they're doing the right thing. They just have a bit further to go on execution.
Yeah.
But knowing that you can never please everyone.
Hopefully we'll see that in the future from Netflix.
Yeah, definitely.
Keep your eyes
Thank you very
peeled.
much for joining us, Georgie.
Thanks, guys.
Now on to something a little lighter. Next up we have Do You Even Sport, where members of the TED Express go and kick on some extreme universal alternative sports. This week it is The Floor is Lava. Check it out.
The floor is lava. A la valla, súbete.
The ground is lava. 4, 3, 2. The ground is lava. 3, 2, 1. The ground is lava. 5.
Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome back. We are joined by the delicious Jacob Lee Joyberry. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Oh,
pretty lady.
Fantastic as always.
It's good. And Tiff, how are you?
Good, yeah, good as always. Can't complain. We're gonna, I think we're gonna jump right into the clip now that we've seen that you haven't sustained any pre-existing injuries.
Still
Thank God. Check this out, guys.
Hello and welcome to Do You Even Sport. My name is Jacob Joyberry and today I'm being carried around by Jared Friday. Jared, how you doing?
Very well, Jacob. Yourself?
I'm doing rather well. I love being carried. It's like I'm some sort of Greek god or something. Because I am.
No,
I am. Anyway.
You've been crushed for, 2 times now. So.
Stop reminding the viewers of my amazing failures. So today we are doing the extreme sport of The Floor is Lava. The Floor is Lava is an age-old game. Time does not touch this game, where children jump around on furniture to not touch the floor because the floor is friggin' lava. Self-explanatory. This sport is so dangerous, we decided to get some extreme coaches in to help us with this hard task. First up, we have Callum. Callum is compassionate, kind-hearted, will kill for glory, and will kill for fun. He is bearded, remember that. His coaching style is firm but fair, and he could teach you rock to swim. This is Daniel. He's a blind monk, ninja warrior. He is weighed down by the sins of his clan. The perch and the student are one, and he is Zen as pro. Training montage. First up we have Jared. He's got to stick the landing. Can he do it? He's going long. Longer than this camera person seems to want to go with them. Alright, they're on. Can we get that confirmation? Yes, we can. Jacob, he's following up. What can he do? Oh, he's short. Okay, ambitious. He's stuck the landing, folks. Everybody cheer for this legendary man. Second task, high five. Ooh. Oh, that was beautiful. Beautiful. And the celebration. Look at him go. The guns, the biceps, the moves. Ecstatic. Jacob, here we go. What's he going to do? He's directing a camera person. He's directing them. He's going long. Oh my god, he's going long. He's going down the corridor. He stopped. Oh, and she agrees. Excellent. Bam, there it is. Beautiful. Let's see what he thinks. Oh, he thinks it's amazing. Of course he does. Alright, here comes the flip. Bro. Here it is. The flip. Yeah. Woo. Amazing.
Where'd he go?
Where'd he go? Where is he? Oh, there. Okay. We have found him. I lost character, but we found him. And can we get confirmation on that? Yes, there's the confirmation. Jacob, here we go. Oh, the wiggle man. It's not as graceful, but it's a good attempt. And there, oh, can he do it? Oh, he's sabotage. What can he do? That was brutal. Anyway, Jacob's running away. He's running. He stopped. He's perching. Good. Okay.
Where's your nemesis?
Oh my god. He survived it. I think you know what that means.
Guys, I have a disappointing announcement to make. And that is, unfortunately for you viewers at home, the winner of this competition was none other than Jacob Lee Joyberry. What do you have to say about yourself?
Nothing. It was just pure skill. My coach, me, against your coach and you, no chance.
Well, Callum had a good Lion King technique.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, learnt it from the pro. I almost died.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, let's not try and kill you next week, because he's sad now. He's leaving. This has been Do You Even Sport. I'm Jacob Joyberry. He's Jacob Friday. There was Callum and Daniel being our coaches this week. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.
I love your guys' antics every week.
That
was fabulous.
Look,
Jacob may have won this one, but we still had a lot of fun.
It was good.
It was good. It was good. It was an interesting one, and I think this is one that we had one of the more fun moments with.
Yeah, it's very fun, especially when you win.
But we're even.
We're even.
We're even.
Next week.
Game's on. Game's on, boys.
Yeah.
I think it was the wet floor sign that tipped you over for the winning point.
And the fact that he got totally Mufasa and scarred.
Yeah. Look, it wasn't a thought out strategy.
That was rough.
Yeah. But now we're going to move on to the great debate.
Yes.
Yeah. So this week we've got Uber versus taxi.
Ooh, this is a good one.
Interesting. So
have you guys? Well, hang on. First of all, I'm Uber.
I'm Uber.
Yeah, well, I think we're all
Uber.
We're unanimously Uber.
Yeah, this is the first.
Yeah.
Let's have a great debate where we just slam our taxi drivers.
Well, we can 4 taxis, right?
Four taxis.
Give me.
All right.
Let's think of something.
All right,
no.
You give us your spiel about taxis then.
Oh,
come on.
I've had some nice taxi drivers.
Yep.
And they're being efficient. They're fast, and they'll take you where you need to go, and they know some shortcuts because they've worked at it for a long time. Whereas some Uber drivers I've had, they don't know the area they're in because they're just there for the fact that their last place took them there.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's as much as I can say about positive for taxis. I've had many taxis where they've screwed me around. I came back from Tullamarine Airport last December. I was there visiting. I was in Sydney visiting my girlfriend's family for Christmas, and we get back, and I'm like, cool, take me to my house in Bundoora. I gave them my street address, and they go, okay, cool. They take me to an entirely different place, about an extra $30-40 worth away, and tell me this is your house.
Oh my gosh!
And I'm like, no, it's not my house. And he goes, yes, it is. This is where you told me to go. And I was like, no, this is my address. I said, put it in the GPS. You said no, you knew where it was. So,
look, that's a bit rough.
I feel like taxis have been stepping it up with their ordering though, because you can click one button on Uber and get taken to where you want. But I recently picked up the phone, I dialed 13 cabs, and they just said, they're like, oh, is this the address? They automatically confirmed it based on my phone number. They're like,
that's cool.
Is this the address that you want to be picked up on? Press the number 2 for yes.
Yeah, well,
and I pressed it, and they were there.
It's definitely that sort of thing because taxis are offering more or less the same service as Uber, but for a more expensive price.
Yeah.
So I think they've really got to pick up their game if they want to stay in business, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Uber's not for everyone, and I understand that because when we were overseas, my parents took their first Uber, and they thought it was really cool. But I don't think they'll use it ever again.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's just not their thing.
Not for them,
but as far as Uber goes, I'm all for it because, you can have a really good chat with someone.
Yeah.
The people who you get in a car with, 9 times out of 10 are just normal people. Yeah. Okay, so everyone has an Uber driver every once in a while who's a bit wacky or a bit weird.
Yeah.
Not quite on the right side of the fence. But that's just something you've got to deal with because that's what service they offer.
Yeah.
And anyone can become a driver. So 9 times out of 10 is pretty good odds.
Do you guys feel safe?
Yeah.
Taking an Uber compared to a taxi?
Well, to be honest, I'm a pretty large man.
Large and in charge, as they say.
Large and in charge, there we go.
I think I feel safe. I'm a smaller person, than you are.
Yeah.
And I'm quite thin, so I don't have a lot of strength behind me, and that's fine. But I feel fine in a taxi, and I feel fine in an Uber.
Do you always ride alone as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I rarely get Ubers with people. If I do, I'm going into the city or whatever, and I don't want to spend so much money, so I split it with people.
Well, yeah, no, that's one thing. I work in the city, and anything when I'm coming home from Melbourne Central into to Bundoora, my work does this thing where if I close, they give us they'll pay for their Uber or whatever.
That's good.
Yeah, which is really mad. My work is
cool.
sick, but. It cost me $21 to anywhere between $21 and $29. So it's usually about $25 to get home. If I was to take a taxi, it'd cost me double. Or $55.
There's no doubt in that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The one negative thing I have to say about Uber is, sometimes you get that weird.
The weird driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, worth it.
But we can 9 times out of 10 we'll take that.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10. That's good odds. That's good odds. Anyway, we'd just like to say thank you very much, Jacob, for joining us.
It's come to the end of our show today, unfortunately.
Tiff, what are your thoughts on the show?
I think it was great. definitely tune in next week because this is only our third show of the semester.
Yeah, easy.
So we'll be back again next Wednesday at 10 a.m. You guys can always, as always, catch us on upstart.net.au, as well as follow our Facebook and Twitter pages, the 10 Express, the 10 Express. And we are going to be back with another installment of Do Even Sport and another riveting great debate.
No worries. Catch you later, guys.
Thank you.